Okay, Mr. Music back again. Let's start on the Chapter 7 test review. And we're going to start out with number 1 and number 2. Okay, let's jump right into it. Number 1, a painter mixed 1/4 a quart of red paint. So this represents the 1/4 of a quart of red with 3/4 blue paint. 3/4 of a quart, and there's the 3/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, because he wanted to make purple paint. How much purple paint did the painter make? How many quarts? Well, if we look here, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, that's 4/4. And remember, we've been talking about in fractions, whenever you have the exact same numerator and denominator. For example, 4/4 like we have here, or 5/5 or 6/6. Those are always equal to one whole. And in fact, they showed you this right here in this example. They're showing you that this rectangle and this rectangle are the same size. The only difference is this rectangle is broken up into 4 parts. But if you add all those 4 parts, it's still the same length as the one whole rectangle. And this represents the purple paint because it makes 1 full quart of purple paint. Okay, number 2. Ivan biked 1 2/3 hours on Monday, 2 1/3 hours on Tuesday, and 2 2/3 hours on Wednesday. What is the total number of hours Ivan spent biking? So the total, that tells us we're going to be adding. Total is plus. So again, there's, like with any math problem, there's many ways we can solve this, okay? I'm just going to go over one way to solve this particular problem. In class, we go over many more, but I'm just going to pick one for this particular problem, and the way I'm going to solve it is I'm going to pull out the whole numbers and the fraction parts. So if we see this number 1 2/3, we have the whole number 1 and the fraction part 2/3. For for Tuesday, we have the whole number 2, and then the fraction part is 1/3. And then for Wednesday, we have the whole number 2 and the fraction part 2/3. Now I'm going to break this into 2 separate problems. I'm just going to add the whole numbers first. Takes me back to 2nd grade. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 more is 5. Okay, I'm kind of trying to simplify it for myself. Now I'm just going to add the fractions. Now the nice thing about this, since I'm done adding these, I can stop focusing on this. I'm going to leave it here because I have to do something with it later. But now I can just focus on adding 3 fractions, and they all have the same denominator, 3, 3, 3. So I know my denominator can stay the same. I don't have to change that. And then I just add the numerators. 2 2/3 plus 1/3 is 3/3, plus 2 more thirds is 5/3. Okay. Now, many students will want to say, okay, I'm done. It's 5 5/3. 5 5/3 is the answer. I'm finished. Now, this is the amount of time, but we have a problem with this fraction here. It's excuse me. It's an improper fraction, which we've talked about. That's where the numerator 5 is bigger than the denominator 3. So we need to, again, just focus on the fraction part. We'll leave the 5 alone for now. So I have the 5 wholes. I want to focus just on the 5/3. Okay. So if I look at these 5/3, I want to know, okay, what does that equal if I change that improper fraction 5/3 into a mixed number, which means has a whole number part and a fraction part? Well, just as we talked about up here, 4/4 equals 1. Well, I know 3/3 is going to equal 1 too. So 5/3, how many 3/3 are there in 5/3? There's 1 whole 3/3, 1. That's equal to 3/3. And then left over would be an additional 2/3. So see, I had 3/3 and 2/3. I broke that 5/3 into 3/3 and 2/3. 3 plus 2 is still 5. I have the same number. So now I'm left with the mixed number 1 whole and 2/3. The reason I'm not including the 3/3 is because the 3/3 is right here in my 1. Right? 3/3 is equal to 1. This is my 3/3, which is 1. So now I go back to my whole number 5. I add a 1 whole to it that I got from here, from the 3/3. Now we're up to 6, and then left over is 2/3, and it's not an improper fraction anymore. So I know my final answer is 6 2/3 hours biking. Alright, thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video.